The gatekeepers of the Ottoman Harem. The guardians of the harem, an enigmatic legacy. Controlling the entrance of the harem and protecting the women inside were the near-legendary eunuchs of the Ottoman Empire. By the 16th century, under the rule of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent from 1520 to 1566, the institution of the eunuch had reached an unparalleled level of influence. These men were not just guards, they were administrators, spies, and power brokers, deeply entrenched in the intricate politics of the Topkapı Palace. Their presence in the palace was a continuation of an age-old tradition, one that existed in Byzantine, Persian, and even pre-Islamic Arabian societies. The origins: a life of servitude. Like many of the concubines they protected, most eunuchs were enslaved individuals. Black eunuchs were often taken from East Africa, particularly Sudan and Ethiopia, while white eunuchs hailed from the Christian territories of Armenia, the Balkans, and Hungary. The primary difference between these two groups lay in their roles. Black eunuchs, Xler Aga, exclusively guarded the harem, whereas white eunuchs, Kap Aga, held administrative duties outside the harem. The practice of castration took place far from the Ottoman court. Many boys underwent the procedure in markets in Egypt or along the slave trade routes through the Sahara. Those who survived the gruesome operation were sold to the Ottoman elite, often at exorbitant prices, before being sent to serve in the palace. The harem and the eunuch's power. The Topkapı Palace harem was home to the Sultan's wives, concubines, and female relatives. During the reign of Sultan Murad III from 1574 to 1595, the harem expanded significantly, housing hundreds of women at a time. The eunuchs ensured strict surveillance over these women, controlling who could enter and leave the harem. But their role was not purely physical. Eunuchs acted as intermediaries between the women and the outside world, delivering messages, facilitating political arrangements, and even influencing the selection of future sultans. In many cases, the chief black eunuch held more influence than even the Grand Vizier himself. The harem and the eunuch's power. The rise of the chief black eunuch. By the early 17th century, the chief black eunuch, Xler Aga, became one of the most powerful men in the empire. One such figure, Hassi Mustafa Aga, rose to prominence under Sultan Ahmed I from 1603 to 1617. He controlled vast networks of spies, corresponded directly with foreign dignitaries, and even played a role in orchestrating palace coups. During the tumultuous period of Sultan Ibrahim from 1640 to 1648, the chief black eunuch became one of the few figures who could manage the unstable ruler. The influence of these eunuchs continued into the reign of Sultan Mehmed IV from 1648 to 1687, who relied heavily on them for managing palace intrigues. Espionage and political manipulation. Eunuchs did not simply guard the harem, they played a critical role in the politics of the empire. By the late 17th century, the chief black eunuch often served as a kingmaker, deciding which concubines gained the sultan's favor and which princes would be groomed for the throne. In 1703, during the Edirne incident, which led to the deposition of Sultan Mustafa II from 1695 to 1703, the chief eunuch facilitated secret meetings between factions plotting against the sultan. Their control over the harem granted them unparalleled access to state secrets, making them one of the most formidable factions within the court. The decline of the eunuch's influence. As the empire modernized under Sultan Mahmud II from 1808 to 1839, the role of the eunuchs began to wane. Westernization efforts saw a reduction in the number of enslaved persons, and the increasing reliance on bureaucrats and military officers led to the gradual decline of eunuch influence. By the mid-19th century, during the Tanzimat reforms, the number of eunuchs in the palace had significantly decreased. Despite their diminished role, the eunuchs remained in the imperial palace until the very end of the Ottoman Empire in 1922. The last chief black eunuch, Hassi Ali Aga, saw the final dissolution of the harem as the empire collapsed, bringing an end to centuries of harem politics. Legends and myths surrounding the eunuchs. Over the centuries, the eunuchs became figures of legend. Some chroniclers accused them of harboring dark secrets and engaging in hidden romances within the palace walls. There were even tales of certain eunuchs finding ways to reverse their castration through secretive medical procedures, a claim largely dismissed by modern historians. One persistent myth tells of a eunuch named Hassan Aga who allegedly attempted to seize power in 1730 by poisoning the Sultan. Though no concrete evidence exists to support this, such stories highlight the aura of mystery that surrounded these enigmatic figures. The legacy of the Ottoman eunuchs. Though their era has long passed, the influence of Ottoman eunuchs can still be seen in modern Turkish history and culture. Many of the palaces where they once served, such as the Topkapı Palace and Dolmabahce Palace, stand as testaments to their once formidable power. From humble origins as slaves to positions of immense influence, the eunuchs of the Ottoman Empire remain one of history's most fascinating and complex figures, symbols of both absolute servitude and unexpected power in the most secretive corridors of the empire. Translate the article to Arabic and put the English and Arabic translation together for each section.